Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you
Okay. No, not yet.
give us 1 second.
Got it. Alrighty. We are going to begin this meeting of the City of Saginaw Planning and Zoning Commission at 6:07 p.m. I'm going to do a roll call to establish quorum. Chairman, place 2, Benjamin Guttery, here. Vice Chairman, number 4, Melinda Julian, not present. Member number 1, Vivian Anderson.
Present.
Member number 3, Peter Drolet, is not present. Member number 5, Val Visas.
Present.
And we do have a quorum. Now I'm going to go to section 1B, audience participation. If anyone in the audience would like to speak on any of the agenda items tonight, you may please come up to the microphone and state your name and where you're from, and we would be glad to hear from you. We will also have time on individual items to speak as well, but if anyone wants to come speak now, you may. Okay, and then I'm going to go to 1C, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. So this was the meeting from January 13th. Looks like we had 5 members present. Does anyone on the board have any notes to make, or do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Member Anderson, if you could vote on the screen.
Alrighty, and the motion passes. Now we're going to go to section 2A, discussion and action regarding the nomination and appointment of a vice chairman. So tonight we have a light quorum. Should we still discuss that, or, yeah?
So, Mr. Chairman, you'll have 2 options. If y'all wanted to go ahead and decide based upon yourselves, y'all are free to do so. Right now, we don't have a vice chairman as that position resigned, so just keep that in mind. And if y'all wanted to just forward it to the next meeting, we can do that as well, but it's up to y'all.
Okay. And still on this, I cannot make a motion, correct? On appointment of, like, I know on regular items, I cannot make a motion. On this, I could nominate someone, or no? Okay, got it, all right. Well, does either of y'all feel like you want to be vice chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to move this to the next session.
Sure, okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, vote to table that till the next meeting.
Member Anderson, could you vote on your screen?
Alrighty, and the motion passes.
And Mr. Chairman, it looks like we have a large public audience, so I'm going to make the recommendation if we can skip 3A and come back to it at the end,
Okay.
and go ahead and continue with 3B.
Okay, sure. Alrighty, so 3B is consideration and action regarding a proposed textural amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding modifying the city's permitted use table, public, civic, and utility uses.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so we received a request to add an existing, change the current permission within an existing use in our permitted use table, that being the philanthropic dash and/or charitable use, to be allowed in the light industrial zoning that is within the clinic overlay district. Both applicants that are requesting this change are here. The current definition that we have for that use is defined as a nonprofit organization supported mainly by charity and whose principal function is the performance of charitable work. Both applicants received a zoning verification letter. We reviewed their uses and were confirmed to be within that use definition. In your packet, we did also include a map of our zoning map that outlines where both suites that the applicants would be intending to be operating at are located. So today, this request is presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission to make a recommendation to amend the current use, which is currently not permitted within that zoning district. There are three options in which the Zoning Commission can address this by. One is by recommending to council to add a P within that spot, right under light industrial. That would entail that any applicant moving forward or people that fall under that use would be permitted by right, meaning they would not have to come before the commission or city council for review. The second option is to add an S for specific use permit. That would allow the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council to review every one of those cases on a case-by-case scenario, add stipulations if needed, and approve them through that way. And the last option would be an amendment to the overlay district, in this case, the clinic overlay district, or medical overlay district, sorry. That would entail making an amendment to the current permitted and prohibited uses within that district. So it could be made permitted through a specific use permit for the philanthropic use within that overlay district. At this point, we're open to questions. As I mentioned, both applicants are here present, and we do have a lot of audience participation to speak on both items. We have Mark B. McLendon and Cheryl Mix for both of those requests.
Yes.
And
I
Mr.
have-
Chairman, I just wanted to add, they specifically requested it within that light industrial zoning district, but at this time, if y'all wanted to add it elsewhere, any other zoning district, y'all are also able to do that as well.
Got it. So I have two questions. One, you said that there's two applicants tonight. Are they both going to be at 1,000, like where on the map it shows the 1,000 block is highlighted?
Yes, they would both be at that building, but two separate suites.
Right.
108 and 107, yes.
Got it, okay. Okay, all right. So it looks like we have several audience participations. I'm just gonna call them up in order that they're stacked here.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
if you could open the public hearing too before we get started.
And
with
then,
sorry, I think the wasp venom is getting
if we
to me.
wanted to also have the applicants come before
To speak
and
first.
speak first, and then open the public hearing.
Thank you.
for
Okay,
this
so
as well.
actually, at this time, I'm going to open up the discussion on, public discussion on item 3B at 6:16 PM. And then if we could have the applicant, let's have the, I guess, the first applicant come up. It's a little difficult here. Where? Yeah, where? Find which, like, how to-
So will either one of the applicants, Ms. Marby, or the, yep. Thank you. And then you can just come to the podium.
Charity. Okay, so, yes. Hi.
And then it should be on, but if it's not, make sure the green light is on.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. If you could just say your name and where you're from into the microphone, because we have people at home that watch it and transcribe.
My name is Marvy McClendon. I'm from Chatton Chew.
Okay. And could you describe to us what you're applying for?
So we're requesting a special use permit to be at 1000 Kennedy Lane as a food distribution / food pantry. I realize this is unprecedented. There's not been a nonprofit that's been in light industrial prior. But our organization is scheduled, and we've been actually in Saginaw for 1 year now, in a different location, but high traffic, and there's never been a complaint about cars or loitering, and we wouldn't alter the neighborhood or the outside makeup of the building that we're requesting for.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for her? They've already been operating. Do you have a name of the organization?
Chatton Chew.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'm
Mr.
so-
Chairman.
I'm sorry,
I did forget to mention the applicant had also sent us a bio of the organization if you wanted us to
Yeah.
read it.
Yes.
Sure. Sure.
So we also submitted 50 impact statements in the surrounding area that we serve, and I believe some signed petition from the people that we serve in the Saginaw area.
Okay. I personally don't have any questions for Ms. McClendon. I do want to hear staff read off the bio, and then I want to read off the notes that we got. But while she's up here, do y'all have any questions for her?
Oh, I missed the name of the organization that she is with.
Chat and Chew.
Chat and Chew?
Yes, ma'am.
Chat and chew.
Could you just explain to us a little bit what is the daily activity, what does the operation look like for such an organization?
So our
For the
hours
space,
are
yeah.
Wednesdays and Saturdays, 9 to 12. And we primarily have a client choice pantry. And it's staggered, so it's not a drive up where you pop your trunk and there would be cars parked one after another. They come and get their food, they leave. We do have some clothing that we provide. However, that's also scheduled, and it wouldn't cause any type of traffic in the area. And there's about 100 spaces in Kennedy Lane right now, so. And we also have a letter from the owner of the warehouse saying he's in support of us being there, as well as the other tenant.
And what you mean by like the choice is that like let's say I'm somebody getting your services, I would come for my appointment at 9:30, I would come inside and I have like a shopping cart and I would like go through and get my items and then bring them to my car. So I'm not like lining up.
Right,
and,
right.
Like you said,
Right.
popping a trunk. And,
Right. Like I said, we've been on 530 South Saginaw, and that's a high-traffic area. And it's exactly what you said. They come in, they grab their items, and they leave.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And it's by appointment only?
No, it's 9 to 12. But they can make an appointment if they wanted to.
I'm good.
Like I said, I personally don't have any additional questions for Ms. McClendon. I do think for the record, we should have maybe like the bio read off. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
If we have any additional questions, we'll ask you. Thank you so much.
Yes, just really briefly, they are a nonprofit organization serving single-parent households, survivors of domestic violence, people experiencing food insecurity, as the applicant described, by providing food resources that would be able to be picked up at that location.
Okay. And then even though we're looking, so
Miss-
even though we're looking at this, like 3B is one item, but it's two separate applicants. I just want to be,
Mr. Chairman,
okay, thank you.
so we're not looking at this per se for these specific establishments.
Okay,
It's more so the use itself.
got it.
So it's not attached directly to these philanthropies or charitable uses. They're just examples of people that are wanting the use to be permissible either by right or by SUP. Y'all are just looking at the use itself on whether y'all want to add it to the permitted use table, either by right or by SUP or not at all.
Yep,
And then within the LI is specifically the zoning district that is affected for the people who are supporting this. However, y'all can also change it in other areas if y'all wish to
right.
do
and
so.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so taking that into account is, could we also have, this is a big packet tonight. Is Miss Cheryl Mix here this evening? Howdy. Howdy, Miss Mix. If you could announce your name and where you're from into the microphone, please.
Okay, I'm Cheryl Mix, and I'm with Donation House. We're currently in Fort Worth, but we're asking to move to Saginaw. We're currently in a light industrial in Fort Worth, and so we wanted to move over here and do more for the community. We have a lot of resources where we're at currently, and y'all don't seem to have a whole lot of resources here. We're a little different than Chat and Chew. We don't offer food. We don't offer money, but we offer everything else, and we are by appointment only. So they place the request through us, either through Facebook or our website, or reach out to us through email. They place the request of what they need. We pull the items for them. They come and they pick them up.
Miss Mix, by everything else, do you mean like clothing, or let's say I'm a single mom getting my first apartment and I don't have a washing machine, or is like, could you describe what you mean?
At our current warehouse, we have clothing, shoes, household items, kitchen items, anything that's not large, like not furniture, not large appliances.
Got it.
Those items we find for them, and then they go and pick them straight up from the donors.
Got it. Okay. All righty. Does anyone on the commission have any questions for Miss Mix while we have her? No? Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. All righty. So at this time, I'm going to, all right. So I'm going to read off, I'm going to ask the several people that wrote. So I've already spoken. Ms. Mix, I got yours, but we just spoke. And I am going to ask, let's see. Is Melissa Garcia in the audience? Would you like to come speak? Hi, Ms. Garcia. If you could just state your name and where you're from into the microphone, please.
Hi, my name is Melissa Garcia, and I'm here with Chat and Chew.
Thank you. And what would you like to let us know about why we should allow this use?
I'm a recently retired veteran and currently a full-time student. I'm currently doing my internship with Chat and Chew. During my time at Chat and Chew, I've seen firsthand the impact that they have on single parents, on families struggling with food insecurities, and just overall anybody that they can help in the community. I have not seen it bring any kind of issues to any neighboring spaces, any traffic violations, or anything indecent. I do see that unlike other food pantries, they connect with the people that they service. So a lot of them are repeat visitors. They have their time slot, nobody overlaps, there's never really like a crowded time. Everything is very organized, and it just a very supportive environment.
I want to thank you for your service. So I'm a veteran myself. Thank you for your service. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Garcia? Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Is Ms. Carmela Garcia available? Howdy. If you could just say your name and where you're from.
I'm Carmela Garcia. I live in Saginaw, and I went to Jew, and my husband passed away. I went to walk to general store. I get a bread and peanut butter. Yeah, I went, sad.
Yeah.
I was walking, and my friend Mary told me, "What's the matter, baby? You wanted me to pray for you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Go on over there inside. They go get you some food. Can't you?" And so they gave me some food. Yeah, I went home. I started to eat.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Is Pat Oakley available, or would they like to speak?
Okay, I'm Pat Oxley
Excuse
from
me.
Keller, Texas.
Thank you.
And I've known Marvie for several years and have worked with her and then seen the products of what she does by giving food to people in need, clothing in need. But most importantly, what she does is people come into the pantry, they personally establish a relationship with them. And a lot of people don't have the opportunities to go out and just get things. But what she does, she takes the people in and she teaches them and restores them back into society. One of the things she does is teaches them when they come into the pantry to purchase food and how to buy and what to buy. And she also supports people that would be homeless, because I worked with her on many cases where those people would be on the street had she not taken a personal interest in them. Got them living, space to live, and teach them. One of the things she has puts people in houses, women in houses, to get them back into society. And part of that process is getting a job, how to manage money, getting a car, getting driver's license if they need it, to put them back into society and teach them and educate them how to do that. And so this to me is a very beneficial thing for Saginaw, what she does here. And she also, our church, the Creek Church down the street, supports her financially. And a lot of the people in that church work with her. And we have a group called Helping Hands that come in and will help her update the houses, paint the houses, do things for her at the pantry, and just recently moved everything from storage unit into where she's located now on Kennedy Lane. And so I think it's a strong thing for this community to have her in the presence to do that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oxley. Thank you. Does Ms. Sherry Thomas would like to come up and speak? Howdy.
Good evening.
You could say your name and where you're from, please.
I am Sherry Thomas, and I'm from North Richland Hills, Texas. I would just like to come to you guys and just let you know how beneficial it is to have Chat and Chew and our group serving the Saginaw community. Saginaw can only be better from what we have to offer the people here. I mean, there is clearly a need, and I met Marvie a few years ago. I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago, and I am just in awe at all the things that we do, and all the ways that they help the community. I've seen so many people come in, and they're not really sure what to expect. A lot of people are downtrodden and just, looking for a hand up, and as Marvy has always stressed, we help people because not everybody is just looking for a handout. Not everybody is looking to lay on the system. And with the services that we provide with Chat and Chew, it teaches people to be responsible. I mean, we have a point system that when they come in, they get a certain amount of points, and it teaches people to budget and to be responsible. And so when they come in, we treat them with dignity. We don't just throw things at them or just make them feel less than. We make them feel like family, and we pray for them, and we love on them just as Jesus would have done. So I think, again, that Saginaw can only benefit. I mean, we're not causing any traffic hazards and no radioactive materials or anything like that. We're just people serving people. And, we have a little example here of some of the things that we've done and some of the things that we do that I would like to just make you guys know.
Please feel free.
I guess that's all I wanted to say, and just to
Thank you very much, Ms. Thomas. We appreciate it. All right. Would Mr. Charles Dents like to speak? Howdy, sir. If you could say your name.
Good evening, Charles Dents.
Thank you.
I'm with Chat and Chew. And not a whole lot to say. Lots been said. You guys have all the numbers that people that are served by Chat and Chew. So obviously there's a need within Saginaw. Those are all Saginaw residents. And so, that proves that there's a need. And I don't know if there's another service in Saginaw that provides that level of to that need. And one thing I will say hasn't been said yet is everyone that's part of Chat and Chew, that serves with Chat and Chew, no one's paid. It's all volunteer. And it's all volunteer because people have a heart for it, and they're serving and providing a need to this community. Frankly, not everyone lives in Saginaw, so they make the drive, they make the time, and so that the people in Saginaw who have a need can be served. And so just want to point out this all volunteer basis. And so that's all I want to share.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dents. Thank you. Does Alicia Grenada want to speak? I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name. I apologize.
Good evening, and it's okay. I'm so used to it already.
Okay.
So, yeah,
I'm sorry. Mine too.
So my name is Alicia. I'm here to support Chat and Chew. Just want to share a little bit of my testimony. I am one of the single parents that they helped me in 2021. So I was homeless, and I met Miss Marvy when I live in a homeless shelter in Dallas, and I live in Bedford now. And 5 years later, I have dedicated my time. Every Saturday of the whole year is dedicated for Chat and Chew to serve at the food pantry and whenever it's needed. So for the few Saturdays that's been closed, I've been missing it. I don't know what to do on Saturdays anymore, so I hope we reopen soon. And so just want to share how beneficial Chat and Chew is for Saginaw, because I strongly believe that this is a good thing that we are here in Saginaw. We used to have it in Fort Worth, and to be honest, I didn't know where Saginaw was before. And now, like, every Saturday I'm in Saginaw, and I tell people, hey, I know Saginaw, I know Haslet, sort of, just because I just passed by them, and now I can tell people about the big factory or what they do in there, the flour thing, that's where they make the tortillas and stuff like that. So, and also at the food pantry, it's not the families that come and visit. They don't just visit for food, and I've seen it many times. Next thing you know, we have ladies praying over and just meeting them, and they come back and they share stories. So we get to know them. They don't just come for food, but they come for relationship, and that's one thing that really I like the most, because 5 years later, I'm still here. I'm stuck with them, and I don't want to leave. Even if they want me to go, I'm going to stay with them. So that's all I want to share.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, we have the world's largest grain silo. If anybody ever wants to know a fact about Saginaw. So, all righty. Would Miss Kamaria Tyson like to speak? Howdy.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, I have a couple things. One thing I would like to say is for small non-for-profits funding.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Can you please state your name?
Oh,
and your
commodity.
I did it every time and I forgot it this time. If you could say your name into the microphone, I apologize.
Kamadia Tyson. What I was saying was funding is hard for small non-for-profits. So the reason that we really wind up finding ourselves in light industrial use is because we can afford the rent. If we could, we would be in a different spot. So I think that is the biggest thing that we could take into consideration. Because we do not have to pay as much as rent, we can have the people who are only volunteers. We can afford things to do like that. Also, I want to say for Donation House is unique in the way that we do not have an application process. So if you need the help, and it really if you're like a middle class family, you never needed the help before, and times like this are super hard. It's okay, I just need you for a little, I need some clothes for my kids just for this month or two until I get back on my feet. We're not oh, okay, do you make this level of income or anything like that? If you need the help right then, we're gonna get it for you. And then we see that come back to us where we have volunteers and now they're a part of our organization and they volunteer and do things like that. So I think that's the biggest asset that we can really bring to Saginaw, that community asset. When you need a leg up, we're there to help you. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tyson. Okay, so I know I called up everybody that had turned in a form, but if anyone else wants to speak on this item, I'm going to close the public hearing unless y'all want to come speak. Got it. Yep.
And then if you could please fill out a form afterwards. Thank you.
If you could say your name and where you're from, please.
I'm Brian McClendon. I'm from Chattanooga. They've said a lot of things about what we do, some things about how we do it. The why is what I would like to speak to you about. Marvy started this organization way before we moved to Fort Worth. She's my wife. I'm retired military, and we would travel around the world. In every base I was stationed, there was always a need to serve someone. And from that need, she made a point to reaching out. And we've done that. I retired in 2010. I did 23 years in the Air Force, and we did it at every base that we were at. It wasn't called Chat and Chew. It was a person who saw a need and reached out and helped. And that's what we've done in Fort Worth, and that's what we'll continue to do in Saginaw if this is approved. The people that we impact with meeting that need are returned. You've heard a lot of testimonies from people who we've helped, and now they're part of our family. Her two sons, Celia's two sons, sit in the front office, me in front, a couple of front seats. And we went on vacation together. So we're not just helping people, they become part of our family. One statement that young man over there said to me on a recent vacation to Galveston, he said, "Mr. Bryan, you make the best steaks." Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but we've made an impact on a life forever. And that's what we do. And so if you can take that in consideration, what we do is not just for an immediate need, it's for a lifetime. That's what we're trying to help. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes, I think we got one more. If you've
I will
come
let
up.
them.
And if you can state your name in there and also fill out a form for Miss Susie when you're done.
Yes, my name is Patricia Overs. I'm from North Richland Hills. I've been with Chat and Chew for years and years. I've known Marvy for a very long time. And I can definitely attest to everything everybody said here. Because we are smaller, we are able to have that personal relationship with people. And they do come back, and we do get to know them, and we get to know their children as well. And we do different programs, like we have a Christmas cheer program for these children. And to be able to hand a gift to these kids and see how excited they get, it's amazing and builds my heart. Yeah, these families have just been amazing, and like Brian said, they do become our family, and we are all one family. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just lastly,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to let you know, we did receive some letters, all of them in support
Mhm.
for philanthropic and/or charitable use.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this item at 6:41 PM. And now I'm going to open up for discussion amongst the committee at 6:41 PM also. Okay, everybody, so there are several options before us. Again, if the city will kind of let me talk through it. One of them is to allow philanthropic items like companies like this to operate in all light industrial across the city. The second option is to allow these particular businesses to move forward with an SUP, and future businesses could apply for a similar SUP. The third option would be to allow them in the medical overlay district, and the fourth option would be to deny businesses like this in the area that they're requesting. Did I get that correct?
The majority of them, yes, sir. The only change to the medical district one that I would say is essentially we have base zoning for LI. On top of that, we have additional zoning districts where you can add added regulations to it, but you don't necessarily have to. So if you don't even want to mess with the zoning district for the medical clinic overlay, you don't have to, but it is an option. You can either, within that district, say these are not permitted uses, or it's a use that's allowed within the SUP just for that zoning district. You don't necessarily have to say if it is or is not allowed, because that'll just be by regular zoning.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. But just want to put on the record, just for legal purposes, we're not looking at this for these specific organizations. We're looking at this as a whole, just for philanthropic and or charitable use, whether we're wanting to allow that, like you said, either by right, by SUP, or not at all. And then, again, if y'all wanted to add extra stipulations on that overlay district, y'all are more than welcome to, but not have to.
And let's say we did allow it by right, would that only be an LI across the city?
So it's up to you again on what zoning districts you want to amend.
Okay.
This that the people that spoke before you are specifically interested in light industrial. So if y'all only wanted to look at light industrial, if y'all do that by a P, again, it's going to be for any philanthropic use that we can categorize as a philanthropic and or charitable use. It's not just the businesses that we talked about
No,
today.
I fully
Again,
understand. Yeah, I fully
we can't take that into account. It's only the philanthropic and or charitable use.
Yeah.
So that would be, if you permit it by right, it's allowed anywhere within the LI. And if you do it by an SUP, then it's on a case-by-case basis. So that would mean that any future applicants that are in the LI section would come through a specific use permit. So just kind of like you saw today, they would come to the P&Z Commission, and the P&Z Commission would make a recommendation, and then it goes to City Council, and they would have the final say on whether your specific application is allowed or not. And that just allows the city to have a little bit more of a variety in terms of reviewing things on a case-by-case basis. But it's up to y'all to make the recommendation. If y'all have any questions, feel free to let us know.
Thank you. Could one of the staff pull up a map of the city's current zoning, just so we can see the city, light industrial, and the clinic overlay district? You know, I know if we pull up the zoning map, it's all on there.
Should be pulling up in a little bit. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. So everything that is
LI will be a light shade of gray.
Yes.
And it's going to have LI depicted on it for light industrial. So it's mostly within the center of our city, but on the very right, on the bottom, you see that medical overlay district that we were discussing as well.
Yep. So I think that, you know, philanthropic charitable businesses could have a wide variety of businesses. And although today we heard from 2 specific ones, I think I would feel more comfortable allowing it with an SUP. That way the city gets a little bit more of a say and knowledge of what's happening. Because if we say all philanthropic, then anywhere within that whole area, anything could set up in a former retail business, and you know, and with the SUP, they have a little bit more oversight with not only P&Z but with City Council and with the city. What do y'all think?
I agree with you. I think an SUP would be best.
Could you help? What other types of businesses are permitted by right within light industrial?
It's a long list of a lot
Just
of different
couple
things.
examples,
So
yeah.
it would be warehousing. You could have some automobile uses as well, manufacturing, different types of uses.
They do not
It's
require.
a variety, yes.
They do not require specific use.
Some of them may, some of them may not.
Okay.
So it's a very large graph.
I know a musical instrument business that's in that same complex, you know.
It is a variety, yes, sir.
Question to city staff, would these 2 applicants, if we request it to go through an SUP, would these 2 applicants be required to file an SUP to come
Yes.
back? Correct. So,
Yes, so today,
yes,
as a reminder, you're making a decision based off the use.
I know.
Yeah.
Today, no one can apply for an SUP at all because it's not permissible
Right.
at all. So no one can go in there.
Yeah.
So if y'all were to go through the SUP decision and city council agrees, the next city council for the public hearing is going to be on May 19th, since their May 5th city council is canceled or will be canceled
Right.
most likely. So then at that time, they'll make the final decision based off your recommendation. And once that occurs, they can also have an application for that SCP on that same agenda, as long as it's after that decision. So
Understood.
it would be in the May
okay.
agenda.
Because like city staff is kind of, you know, that's how, we heard how these specific businesses operate, but not all philanthropic businesses are going to operate the same. So some of them might be operating differently. So I think that's why I feel more comfortable doing a SUP. That way it's allowed in those areas, but still, it still has to be considered. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. And yeah. Do you have any questions for the city staff at all, Ms. Anderson?
No, I think I understand what's going on here, and I think I have to agree with you that there's such a broad number of opportunities under this that there needs to be an SUP for it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I would like to propose that we approve, including the charitable, what is it?
Philanthropic and or charitable
Philanthropic
use.
and or charitable use within light industrial, only, which is what we're considering today, without looking at the other ones. But with stipulation that it comes before planning and city council for specific use permit consideration.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right. We're going to vote. All right, and the motion passes. All righty. Then we're going to go to 3C, public hearing, consideration, and action regarding an inquiry to add a new use to the permitted use table, a community home for the disabled.
Yes. So good evening, Chairman. This item is similar to the previous item where the commission is asked to modify the permitted use table. However, it differs in that this is an inquiry to add a new use to the table, specifically the community home for the disabled. So currently, we have a defined definition for this use, but it is not included within the permitted use table. And the process to add a use is similar to that detailed in the previous item, where you would have a recommendation, it would go before council, and then the applicant would come before you, whether you specify that they are allowed by right, allowed by SUP, or not allowed at all.
All right, for sure. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I should have made some sort of announcement.
I
Yeah,
know.
thank y'all for coming.
Did you get all the
I
forms?
wasn't sure.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I heard what you were saying.
So for the use, we do have a definition in our ordinance, and I will go ahead and say that. So a home that where not more than 6 persons, regardless of the legal relationship to one another, with disabilities, and 2 supervisors reside and are provided with services consisting of food and shelter, personal guidance, care, habilitation services, and supervision in accordance with Chapter 123 of the Texas Human Resources Code. So that is the definition within our ordinance. So today, the commission has the opportunity to assess and determine where this use is appropriate in which district. We have one applicant that is interested in bringing a sober home living. They specifically would request to be permissible in the single-family zoning, SF4, and this is not within any overlay district. I don't believe they're present today. Everybody has gone, but.
And Mr. Chairman, I just do want to point out that this case is a little different because we have an added legal stipulation to these types of establishments. So I will open the door for our city attorney.
Howdy.
So the main concern here is being ADA compliant. So when someone asks, you know, I'm disabled, the city is obligated by federal law and state law now to provide them with what the reasonable accommodations, right? And you guys have to act in good faith in that. So to that end, something like this, you would have to consider
The city might be responsible to put additional like sidewalks or ramps going.
Well, for this particular use, for the community home for the disabled, in this case for recovery individuals with addictions, you would probably, any additional, you know, requirements or permits for this one, it's going to be offset. So depending if it qualifies under the code as a community health center, then that right is by law. It preempts any zoning issues that may develop. So for example, hypothetically, let's say one of these entities or locations fits the rule, fits the definition for one of these housing, and it's located within a industrial use, well, that's fine. They don't need no permits, they don't need any permission really from the city because it's by right. It preempts everything that you guys may have because it's by right by the state. That's how the state wrote it in the code, it preempts everything. Unless it's some other law that regulates it, but yeah.
Okay. Does city staff have a recommendation on this, or do we have any letters or anything that was turned in for this?
Staff will remain neutral.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to open up a public hearing for item 3C at 6:56 p.m. And if anyone in the audience would like to speak on this item, please feel free to come up to the microphone. And I'm going to close this item for public hearing at 6:57 p.m. And now I'm going to open it up for discussion amongst the council at 6:57 p.m. Okay, so I guess the applicant isn't here, so I would have a significant amount of questions for any type of special use like this in a neighborhood, even if it was a bakery in a neighborhood with 8 employees, I would have a significant amount of questions. Yes, please, anybody else speak?
Is there a restriction or currently in a HOA community that would speak to this for that community?
I know this particular neighborhood. It is Highland Station, and they do not have an HOA.
Are there, okay. This kind of use is permitted in a industrial? Is that what I
So
understood?
it is, currently, it is not within our permitted use table, so it is not allowed by right in any,
In any way?
in any
Okay,
district.
All right.
But it's preempted, meaning what preempted means is that it overrides whatever rules or regulations the city may have. So the state has created a special right for these type of homes to exist. So that law overrides whatever restrictions or regulations that the city may have against it. So they're allowed to do it by right.
Okay.
I know that might be
Okay.
kind of confusing.
It
Even
is.
in my memo that I wrote, I put, make sure you
Yeah.
Is that?
separate the two.
So then why are we here?
So then the question.
So reason why you're here is because, yes, you guys only defined it in your ordinance, but it's not even listed on the permitted use. So let's say, for example, someone comes in and wants to do it, and they meet the definition that the city has lined up in your guys' ordinances, they're still not permitted to do it here. Yes, they're not permitted to do it. Yes.
So basically what we're doing, what we have to do today is say we include it in our table, and also do we get to define?
Well, it's already defined in your ordinance,
It's-
so here, we're just here to discuss if it's something you guys want to consider in putting it into the permitted table, just kind of like what we did with the previous agenda item, and then it goes on to the city council to decide yes or no.
But we really don't have a choice.
Yeah, but we did that one we could have denied that one, or we
But-
said
yeah.
that we wanted to approve it with an SUP. On this one, we're being told that the state has overridden it for these type of disabled, sober living homes.
To be more clear cut, I think.
Okay.
So we
Be more
can't
clear-cut
deny
in your
it,
ordinance.
but we have to
Yes,
put
be
it
more
in.
clear, to have it laid out into your guys' ordinance.
So it would be modifying it to be in conformance with Texas state law.
Basically.
Yes.
And in this request, it's for single family 4. Can we put it in someplace else? Does the state say where
So whatever restrictions you would have, for example, for a single-family home, would also have to be applied on this home, and vice versa. Whatever restrictions you have on these type of uses, on this particular use, has to be level across the board to avoid discrimination. So, yes.
So we can't restrict it to like commercial?
Not unless you're doing it the same, for the same
So
kind
if
of
we-
housing.
Okay, so if we said,
Yeah. Yes.
right, so if we allowed it, we would have to allow it in all residential, in single family 1, single family 2, single family 3, single family 4, multifamily.
If you define it like that, then that would, where it would fit into your guys' committee.
All right, but we're not allowed to say, no, we don't like this use anywhere in housing in the city.
No, yeah, because right now in the ordinance, it's very wishy-washy and very ambiguous where it would fall,
Okay.
if at all.
So
For
we're
here-
being asked to basically put in some new legalese language that is more defined because the existing city ordinance is ambiguous, and now with the state law, they're saying, hey, cities, you need to have your language more clear.
Yes.
Okay, because, yeah.
So
So-
we're just going to comply with state law.
Basically, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Commissioner, we have a definition. We have a definition of this use within our definition section, but it's not in the permitted use table at all. So
Okay.
what you would be doing is adding it to the permitted use table, is what I'm gathering from legal, and then allowing it by right, since it's already allowed by right in Texas for most statutes. And then if you have any more specific questions about how and where or what, then Mr. Mark can.
Is an
add on.
HOA still allowed to decline a facility like this?
Negative.
No, okay.
It's by right.
No.
Supersedes.
So it has to be a P,
It has to be permitted or,
or can we
Yeah.
permit it, not even with specific use?
you could add specifications, but whatever specifications you add to it would have to be the same for the same categorized.
For ordinary
I
single
just guess I'm
family.
not
Okay.
understanding what other type of business could like come into a neighborhood and like do that. I mean,
Well-
and have so if I wanted to open up a psychiatric hospital in my neighborhood and say, hey, I have 4 bedrooms, I can put a bunk bed in each one, I'm gonna have a psych hospital in my neighborhood. The state is allowing that now, or we would have to put the same restrictions on the psych hospital as we would on the sober living, as we would on the halfway house or I mean,
Regular.
I could list all kinds of things.
This has a very specific definition, and that's why it's needed to have it be more clear cut.
Okay,
Okay, so having it put on your guys' plan would just solidify where it's at in the law.
okay. Staff, if y'all could just tell me exactly what to say, because I thought that this was a specific business, specific somebody that was coming, trying to open up something in that address. I did not know that this was us like updating something to comply with state law. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, like the way that I read, because I looked at the agenda last night. I
Same,
thought that,
yeah.
I thought that this was like a specific
Use
thing
request,
for
yeah.
that one. You know what I mean?
So it's kind of the same as
It's
the
both.
previous
Yeah, yeah,
item,
yeah.
which we're not going to talk about the previous item, right?
Yes,
Because we
'cause we
legally
can't,
can't.
yes.
But the concept is that we did have someone come before us to apply for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we noticed that our permitted use table is not in conformance with Texas state law.
Okay, now I understand. Got it.
So we need the performance, or the table needs to comply with state law, period.
Okay,
Is that correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, okay, so it sounds fairly simple. I mean, do I have a motion? I mean, we just need to, yeah.
I move that we recommend adding new use permitted use to the table for community home for the disabled. Is that adequate?
That would be one part of it. The second part is whether you're permitting it by right in what zoning districts or all zoning districts. So you can specify which ones are all.
Okay. Can we do an aside here?
I would guess that the state law is all zoning districts. I mean, if somebody wanted to open up in the townhome or in the mansion, that it's by state law, so in all zoning districts.
Added to the, well, okay. Do I need to start over?
Probably. Just make it clean for the folks down in Austin. Howdy.
So you may have to help me here.
So you make a motion, and then you're going to read
I move that
off.
we make a recommendation to add permitted uses table for community home for the disabled to our tables that comply with state law.
In
all zoning districts, permitted by right?
Permitted by right, according to state law.
Okay, do I have a second? All righty, and then we're going to vote.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. That one is what it is.
All right, and the motion passes. Now we're going to go to item 3D, public hearing, consideration and action regarding an inquiry to add a new use to the permitted use table, ice kiosk.
Yes.
All righty.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a request to modify the permitted use table to add a new use, ice kiosk. We received one application of a owner that is interested in adding this to their property. However, it is not included within our permitted use table, and we do not have a definition within our ordinance. So today, you can make the recommendation and assess where this type of use can be included in which district, and whether you would like it to be permitted by right, by SUP, or not permitted. And we do have the applicant present, and they have a presentation.
Okay.
And then, Mr. Chairman, just to add, just as previous, this applicant is requesting to have this allowed specifically in the community commercial zoning district, and they're also within the Saginaw Boulevard overlay district. But again, we're not looking at it as this specific applicant. We're looking at it as a whole, just ice kiosk in general as a permitted use.
Okay. Alrighty, so at this, do I have the applicant come speak, or do I open it up for public? Okay, I'm gonna open this up for public meeting at 7:09 p.m. And then if the applicant would like to come speak and introduce yourself, please.
We have a presentation, so I'm going to
Sure.
open this up so that we can follow it,
Yeah.
if that's okay. Yeah, I just have it. Because, well, I'm going to use this clicker though, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And your name?
Yes, ma'am. I am Jennifer Craver. This is Scott Craver, my husband. So, good evening. Thanks for having us. We are here for a special use permit to add an ice kiosk to our property that my family has owned on Saginaw Boulevard, 345 to be exact, since 1958. This is a use that is not currently defined in the city's zoning ordinance, and it's not explicitly permitted but also not prohibited. So, however, there have been 2 identical machines that are operating. One was operating within the city, and one is currently operating within the city as well. And we have been directed by staff that we need to apply for special use permits and a variance to get us where we need to be. So that's why we're here. Our goal tonight is to not challenge the city, but to better understand why we're here when this type of kiosk has been allowed in the past. So it has a low impact to the community, so we're just trying to get clarification and also get it approved to move forward in the process.
Yes, ma'am.
I gotta do this one, not my computer. There we go. So, as I mentioned, the property has been continuously owned by our family since 1958, when my grandfather purchased it. Prior to his death, he actually deeded the property to my grandmother, who owned her own business on the property for several years. We also had another business there that rented from us for many years. Well, actually 2, a saddle company and then also a paint and body shop. And we also had some rentals on the property. It does sit on the boulevard. It's approximately 2 acres. And again, it says it's under private ownership, and that is owned by our family. Small businesses, as I mentioned, were on there. My grandmother was a single mom. This is my opportunity to brag again for my grandmother, so I'm going to use it. She was a single mother of 3 boys who moved from Mississippi to Texas with her husband to prosper and to also move into a better environment, which was actually not discriminating against the people that we brought with us in our family to Texas. But she had her own business. She had a laundromat, and she was very well known in the city, and she did a really good job, but then we had some flooding issues, and so we ended up tearing the building down. Again, we are requesting approval for an ice and a vending machine here. This is not going to be the only one that our family owns. This would be the first one of hopefully many that we own. And the reason that we want to put this ice and vending machine is because, number one, we own the property and we don't want to have to rent, which we will in the other cases, unless we purchase a property. But we have 3 special needs kids in our family, and we want them to have something that they can do as they get older and they can prosper on their own. So I'm going to let my husband talk now.
Once again, my name is Scott Craver. So on this, it's what we've looked at, the proposed use, the ice and water vending machine. It's a self-service, low-impact use, no staffing required, minimum traffic generation, provides essential daily service. I met with the chief building official, Chris Dyer, up there. We walked the property. You'll see, you should have it in your packet, but you'll see where we decided where we're going to propose to put the machine. It's in the front corner of it. And there it is. There's the concept plan right there. So we put it up there that way, if we decide to develop the rest of the property, then that's not in the way. Yeah, y'all have all that in your packet. Does anybody got any questions while we're going through that part?
So it would be close to the corner of West Northern Avenue and North Saginaw Boulevard.
Yes, sir, that is correct. So,
and how would they pull up from Main up to this little overhang here? Like, would they pull up on Main and get the ice and water and then kind of pull off on, how there's like like a pullover lane on Main kind of thing, or would they come behind it?
The goal is to have, what I was talked to Chris, the goal is to have parking spots in the front of it.
Okay.
That way they're not pulling through there and all that. So the goal is to have parking spots, and they agreed that there was plenty. It's like I said, the detailed site plan shows the exact placement of the proposed structure, right there on the corner, just like you said. You can see the defined driveway access, existing gravel, concrete driveways, how traffic can enter and exit efficiently. The placement keeps the structure tight to the roadway, minimizing internal traffic and preserving the majority of the property.
Does this have a pointer? Like a
Pointer, like a red dot?
Yeah. Can you?
Oh, it's,
you
yeah.
can't see it on there, right?
Yeah, the laser isn't doing it.
Okay,
Oh, you won't be able to
so-
see it on the TV, though.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to point out also, there's a gravel road that comes off of Northern, and we had some rentals in there that have been removed. There's still a gravel road. We have it blocked off right now just because we have some random people that are going in there and parking. We have some things there because we're just trying to still clean up the area. We're gonna pull out some trees and do some other things in there, but there are already existing parking spaces from when our shop was there, as well as Hills Paint and Body Shop. They had some parking spaces that were already there, and so those same parking spaces would be utilized for this as well.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Those are on the property as opposed to on the street?
The vending would be on the property, yes,
And
ma'am.
the
And
parking?
we would actually the parking would be on our property also, just in front and off of the street.
Yeah, it's just not showing it on this little drawing here with the trees, but there is parking spots there. I'm now that my memory's jogged, I'm remembering, yeah.
And we would also put a platform there for it as well. We would not put it on the ground. You can put these on the ground, but that's not gonna be our goal. We would put it, I actually think that there's a picture of one that shows, let me see if it's, if you see that top picture on your concept plan,
Yeah.
where it has those red pylons, we would do something similar so that no one would run into it, and it would be on a cement platform.
Yeah. Okay.
Then fill in a little bit more. Here you go, babe.
So with the traffic impact comparison, the ice and water vending, 2 parking spaces, we can get more than that. We're looking at, 1 to 3 minute dwell time. Self-service, no staffing, like we said before, low intermittent trips, minimum site circulation. Typical small retail, 10 to 30 parking spaces, 10, 30-minute dwell time. Staffed operations, continuous traffic flow, internal circulation required. There's the machine design and the footprint of it. This is a bigger machine. They've got different sizes, but she's actually going to go over that part, so I'm not going to go over that.
As mentioned, again, there's no ordinance explicitly permitting or prohibiting this use, so that's why we're here. The staff has directed us to seek a variance, and the requests arise from lack of defined classification. In addition, as mentioned, there was 2 similar water and vending machines. One is still in town. It's a smaller machine, and it's located in the parking lot where...
It's by Taco Casa.
By Taco Casa.
Yeah.
It's a smaller machine, and it doesn't produce as much. And again, both of those had been approved by prior administration. Not sure if it's still unclear whether those applicants were required to seek a variance, or if the staff that was here at that time made an exception. So we're just asking basically for equitable treatment and classification Does the current process differ from the past approvals? Raising the question of consistency, administrative discretion appears to have been used previously, but so should we require a variance? We're not sure, but we just want to move forward in the process. It does take about 2 months from the time that we purchase this machine. We would be purchasing it from Twice the Ice company, but it would become our property. So if we do decide as a family that we want to develop that property into something else, which is not something we want to do right now, but if we decide that we want to, we could either leave it there or we could move it. We have one by our house that was just moved 2 weeks ago. We watched them move it because obviously we're in this process, and a crane comes in and picks it up and removes it, or it can put it down whenever they deliver it. They did do a report of some machines that are close by in proximity to where ours would be within the Fort Worth area. They did a Buxton report, and it did show that it's projected to have over 26,000 annual VINs. And so it would be widely used, easy access on and off of the boulevard. So it's a strong customer value and demographic. As you know, there's a lot of cars that drive up and down the boulevard every day. So again, responsibility would be as our private property. We're not leasing it from anyone. We have long-term ownership. There's no obligation to develop immediately, as I mentioned. We don't have to develop. We had it on the market for a while. My uncle passed away during that time, and we decided as a family we were not going to put it back on the market. And so it leaves it open for us for some flexible use for the future. And then again, closing, just appreciate you guys listening to us, and ladies listening to us, and just asking to utilize the property in which, you know, it's already been allowed. We'd just like to move forward in the process and get started. So, any questions? I'm happy to answer.
I have one question
Sure.
before staff speaks. Do these come decorated, like with the decals and stuff on it, or are y'all going to put your own specific branding on it? That's, you know, like whatever, because you mentioned that you want this to become like maybe like a little family chain of them that you have. So are y'all going to put, you know, Saginaw Family Ice or whatever, you know, your family
Right.
on there, or is it going to be Twice the Ice, like what we see on the pictures?
Yes, it will be what you see. There are some modifications that can be made, obviously for a price for us. There's a regular awning, for instance, that comes with it. That's just a blue awning that goes over the front. We would really like to have the nicer looking one, which was on one of the slides with the. You have it, I believe.
It's like a longer
this
one, I think. Yeah,
It's called a top hat. It's the
Yeah.
one with that. I just think that's a better option. It's lighted for during the night. People that come during the evening times, because it's open 24 hours a day, so they can come there and get ice. It also comes with a chute. This is the biggest one that they offer, so we want to make sure that we can provide enough ice that can keep it sustainable. And it has a chute so people can put it right into their ice chest if they would like, or you can do bags either way, or fresh water. The maintenance would be taken care of by our family. As mentioned too, it is our property once we purchase it. It's not something that they can come back and get from us later. There are people that sell back to Twice the Ice, as if they retire or they sell it moving forward. There are people that have done different things to the outside of them. If you've ever seen the one, there's one right off of Jacksboro Highway, if you know where the Olson's Fishing place is on the corner there of, I think it's Roberts Cutoff and 199. They actually put brick around theirs. We used to own a brick manufacturing company in the city of Saginaw, so I'm sure my dad would love to do that. I don't think we will. We'll probably make it look just like this.
Okay.
So that's a great question.
Yep. Okay.
And on somewhere on there, it will have like, just, who's
Your
the owner.
Contact them from
Yes.
owned and operated by you.
Yes.
And could you explain, like, what are the typical uses for these? Like, I know at like the Sunshine Herb store, like they have like the water thing where you can go get like, your healthy water. And then, but is it like backyard barbecues, like fishing, like, like what are the typical uses that people are going to be, driving up for kind of thing? Just their everyday household. I'm having a grill this weekend and need a bunch of ice. Like,
I think that's a very valid and great question. In the research that I've seen, a lot of people, especially early morning, construction workers, truck drivers, people like that are used to filling up their ice needs on the way out to work, they utilize it. Obviously, one of the biggest times of the year, 4th of July, when people are going out and they're celebrating family events, graduations, any of that. I think for the value that you get when you go into a store where they have a small freezer that has the ice bags in it, you're getting a lot smaller bag for a bigger price. And this has a more valuable offering. So you can get a lot more ice for less money. And then fresh water as well. There's a lot of people that still use fresh water that they can just do their refillables. So
and you're not having the plastic waste.
That's right.
Yeah.
And recyclables.
For sure. Okay.
Absolutely. Great question.
Does anybody on the commission have any questions for our applicants, or do we want to let them sit?
I think we can move on. Thank you so
Okay,
much
of
for
course. Thank
for
you.
that. And I did have same concern as you. I know we have the other vending out there, and I was wondering when I saw this one, why we have to deliberate on this. Does the
We need
city
to-
have
hold on,
any?
really, do we have to close
Close.
it for public and then start asking you questions? I'm so
Yes, because I don't have
I just didn't want to stick it in.
But I do have information on the one that moved out. I can allow that.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Or I would answer it.
It's fine, yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
You want me
Thank
to?
No,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we did want to clarify.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:28 PM for now. And then I'm going to open up our discussion at 7:28 PM. Okay, sorry, I'll go. And
Yes.
you tell us what you want to, yeah.
Yes, sir. So staff did want to clarify on the 2 kiosks that were mentioned that are already operating within the city. Staff determined that they were classified as retail, so they were inappropriately classified in another use. The ice kiosk does not fall into any of our permitted uses, so that is why today we are here proposing that we add it and that a definition is also added.
And then
That makes sense, thank you.
yeah, it does make sense. And then with the Saginaw Boulevard Overlay District, is that the reason why? Because I know that from what the city council did this Saginaw Boulevard Overlay District before I came on to P&Z 3 years ago. But from what I understand about it, it was to like make a more uniform like signage and kind of appearance of Saginaw Boulevard. So is the signage, is that why they're having to come to request? Or no, sorry, I'm just asking.
No, Mr. Chairman, like Maria mentioned,
Yeah.
before it slipped somewhere, essentially, is what we think, so it's either 2 options. We looked with the building department to see if they had a CO for one of those establishments, specifically the one on the...
By Valero Taco Casa, yeah.
Yes.
Because the other one is gone, right?
Yes, so we didn't look
Okay.
into that one. We looked into the other one that's existing and currently in use. And what we found was that some time ago, somebody signed off on that CO And at that time, zoning verification was done by that individual, so it was all in one house. And so they established that per the application, it looks like they classified it under retail. Now, I don't know, I wasn't here either
Right.
at that time, so I don't know if they maybe had a different definition of retail at that time,
Yeah.
or if he just considered the category and did that instead of the permitted use. I can't specifically tell you just because we weren't here.
For sure.
The chief building official also wasn't here during that time, but that's just what we found from our research and assumptions. Now, today, when they came before us a couple weeks ago, the reason why we could not sign off on a CO or the zoning verification letter is that legally, it's not a permitted use within the permitted use table, so we couldn't find a definition that closely fit this description of the establishment. So legally, we just could not allow it today, even
Move
though
forward.
it was allowed by accident elsewhere.
Okay, got it, yeah. Well, and I know sometimes cities, definitions change. Whenever I first heard the term mixed use, like 20 years ago, I thought that that was like offices above with like a cafe below. And then now I found out that mixed use also includes a gas station with a drive-through fast food place. So, yeah, the definition of mixed use has also changed too. Okay, one other question, because I know we made a stipulation beforehand, although this business is before us, we're looking at ICE kiosks being added to the permitted use table. Do we have the ability to say we can, if we want to, we can add a business like an ICE water kiosk within community commercial and neighborhood commercial, but outside of that, they need to file a SUP, or, you know what I mean? Like, or are we saying in the whole city, or yeah.
Mr. Chairman, so yes, we're not looking at this business for this application specifically. What we're looking at today is the use itself.
Yep.
So whether we want to allow an ICE kiosk wherever within the zoning districts that we have established. So that's for a variety of residential, and then we have neighborhood commercial, neighborhood mixed use, community commercial, community facilities, light industrial, and heavy industrial. So if y'all decided today that y'all wanted to include it within just NC and CC, y'all are allowed to do that, yes, sir. And then, again, repeating your options, you have permitted by right, you have permitted by a specific use permit, and then you additionally have the overlay that you can add extra stipulations to, but you could also just look at it as just straight zoning. So those are a couple of different options that you'll have.
Okay.
We also pulled up the section of the permitted use table, and you can see where it is sectioned off by residential, non-residential, and within that, you have all of the zoning districts.
So looking at this and hearing this business, I think it's a business that Saginaw residents would use and get benefit from. I do think that we should talk about where in the different types of districts that it's allowed, because like I just used as an example community commercial and neighborhood commercial, but like if you look at some of the neighborhood commercial, it's like really like it's neighborhood, it's like right up on neighborhoods, and oftentimes that's used, thank you for pulling up that map, oftentimes that's used as kind of like a catch-all. So like the one that's up by Basswood Crossing, that neighborhood commercial, that's actually their HOA amenity site, you know? So that's not even like a free, like open land. That's like where they have their neighborhood pool and their little house. But where red community commercial is, I don't see personally a problem with it. But the landowner wants to have it.
And Mr. Chairman, just
yeah.
additionally, just because it's not an existing use, we don't have a definition.
Okay.
So it would also be adding a definition.
Correct,
as well.
yes.
Sorry, definition for ice kiosk?
What an ice kiosk
For
is.
an ice
For ice
kiosk,
kiosk,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a proposed definition?
I have a generic one, just based off the conversations that we heard today. Probably avoiding size seems the best. So possibly, and this doesn't have to be verbatim, we could go back and modify, just general gist. Self-service machine or booth where people can buy ice, usually located outside stores, gas stations, or parking lots. I think that would generically meet all the needs of the use that we had before us. But again, it doesn't have to be verbatim of that. You could allow us the discretion.
Yeah. And an individual business would still have to come get a permit. They would have to go see the building chief. They would and make sure that they're following all their guidelines. And like, it's not, if we say that this is now permitted, it's not like they're just going to start popping up all over the place. Like they have to, they still have to go through city things. Yeah.
Yes, so if they're allowed by right, they wouldn't have to go through P&Z or city council at all. They would just get a zoning verification letter that says they're permitted by right. If you decided to do an SUP, they would have to come before P&Z and commission.
Yep.
They do have regulations for these types of establishments, for accessory uses and things of that nature that they have. But we would need to speak specifically to the building department to see if they needed to have any other ones, just because it's not a current use.
Right.
But I think it would just be pretty standard.
Okay. Yeah. And then after us, this is still going to council because we're adding this to, so
Yes.
this is a
So
new
y'all make a
use.
recommendation to
Right.
the city council, and
Yep.
then the city council has the final say. Yes. Sir.
Right. Okay, got it. Okay, does any of my colleagues have this is the time to talk. So what do we want to hear?
What is the regulations or requirements regarding sanitation and cleanness and acquisition of the water?
So I don't know if we are considering that part today because we're actually just considering, is it even like allowed to come? That's kind of what I was asking earlier, is like they still would have to make sure that the item is safe and that they're permitted to sell food, which is water, to people. So even if we approved them or this use and then city council did, they still have a few other places to go get their stamps and stickers and stuff. But I think today we're just considering, do we want an ice kiosk type of business somewhere in Saginaw, like at all? That's what we're considering today, right?
Yes, sir.
If we did permit it, trying to remember what you were saying there, does it still give the city oversight on the construction and things like that?
So if you decide to do permitted by right, it would be allowed no matter what within those zoning districts that you choose to have that permitted by right. However, they would still have to follow regulations if there are any existing to get their CO.
Okay.
Yes. So it's not oversight when it comes to whether they're allowed or not,
Yes.
if you decide to do permitted by right.
Yeah, it would be meeting certain standards or certain guidelines from by the city.
If we have them, yes.
If you have them, okay.
And we also don't have to say that it's allowed in all community
course, yeah.
commercial. We could just say it's allowed in the city of Saginaw with an SUP. Here is the definition of what we say an ice kiosk is generally. And then anybody that wants to open up an ice kiosk files an SUP. Or we could say it's allowed by right with this definition in community commercial, and then they go through building and fire, health, all that, whatever. Yeah. You think, Val?
I think it's definitely something that we need in Saginaw. I drive by the other one over here and I see there's always a line, especially on the weekends when I'm going for my games in the morning. People are crowded over there, and so definitely something needed. And thank you for thinking about doing something like that around here. I would make a motion to include where is it? Adding a new use in the table for ice kiosk, is that it? And I would specify community commercial, for it to be added in community commercial.
And what is the definition, the general definition that, because we said that we could change the size of it, but like there's like a general definition of what an ice kiosk is, right?
So the definition that I just provided was just
Yeah.
something that I've
Right.
made up right now,
Mhm.
just based off the conversation. But if you want to just, in your motion, you can say it could be similar to what we have, and then just, make some tweaks and look into it. Just the general gist of it, though. What I have is self-service machine or booth where people can buy ice, usually located outside stores, gas stations, or parking lots. It could be less than that, or it could be more than that, or you could just decide to let staff make that decision as well.
Yes.
So,
You can also make a motion and then say with the definition that staff
yes.
provides.
And then within part of your motion as well, if you want it in community commercial, you have to say whether you want it by right or by SUP.
Okay.
So if you could repeat your motion.
Val, are you considering SUP or by right?
I was actually going to ask him that.
Yeah, I am considering SUP just because to reinforce the city's ability to have an input into the construction. For example, I'm thinking for a business like this that will be off the side of the road, and we all know how busy that stretch of the road is. The city obviously has some maybe regulations or guidelines that they would provide for, okay, here is how much cars, availability for cars to be close to the road or interfere with traffic or things like that. And maybe sanitation, if there are any regulations for that as well, or guidelines for that. But so that's the only reason why I would think SUP for ice kiosk. Otherwise, being in the commercial, community commercial, I really don't see any other reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So just restart your
So-
motion, but
So this is going to be a long one, so just go with me here, go with me. So I make a motion to approve the inclusion of the ice kiosk as a new use to our permitted use table, and ice kiosk being the definition that's suggested by the city, and leave you with the discretion to expand on that definition as you need. And that inclusion would be in the community commercial zoning with specific use permit.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Alrighty, and the motion has passed. Yep, congratulations, Joe. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty, and now we are going to go to section 4A, project updates. Always my favorite.
Mr. Chairman,
Wait,
we
3A.
skipped 3A.
We skipped 3A.
So we
Oh,
still
I'm so sorry. Because we came
We
to it
skipped 3A,
last.
yeah.
I don't
We
get
did
to do my
skip 3A.
favorite part.
It's a long one.
Sorry, you're
Alrighty.
not leaving here
All right.
anytime soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we're going to go to
Back to
3A, public hearing, consideration and action regarding a proposed textural amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding modifying the city's permitted use table, automotive uses, medical uses, and commercial, retail, and services uses of Article 5, permitted uses of Appendix A zoning.
Mr. Chairman, So just as we've seen a variety of amendments to the permitted use table, but brought by individuals. This application or this item before you is a variety of textural amendments brought by the city. So as a reminder, you'll have seen this in the past, but we tabled it at City Council, and so it has been brought back. One of the reasons it was tabled was because there was an additional notification requirement legally that we had to do in order to notify existing businesses if we decided not to have them as legally non-conforming anymore. However, we did decide to have them be legally non-conforming uses for existing ones, so they would be allowed by right to continue that. So when it comes to those categories that we're going to be discussing today, it's going to be automobile categories, commercial, retail, and service, and medical. So we have 3 different categories. Okay, so just as a reminder, I know we've kind of talked about this. This was supposed to be the first item, so that's why I have it included. But just the general organization of the permitted use table, it is separated by residential on the left and non-residential uses on the right. In the middle, it has the type of land use designation, which would be that use that we discussed. And then we have supplemental conditions, so any added things such as requiring a site plan or requiring a detention plan that's not specifically depicted in our regular regulations would be able to be added to that as well. Just as a key to the table, the way we read this is the zoning district is going to be on the top header, and anything beneath that for that specific use, if we're looking at it as a line item, if we see a P, it is permitted. If it is an S, it's allowed through a specific use permit, which again would go to P&Z. Y'all make a recommendation, and then it goes to City Council, and then the final decision is made. Or we leave it blank for not permitted at all. Okay. So I've organized this in separate phases so that hopefully it makes much clearer sense as we're going through. So the first category we're going to be going through is commercial, retail, and service. The first component for the use is convenience store with or without fuel cells. So essentially a gas station with a convenience store. With this component, it's currently allowed by right in neighborhood commercial, and it's currently also allowed by right in community commercial. We are recommending that neighborhood commercial, these establishments are allowed by right in neighborhood commercial, and then in community commercial, it would be allowed by a specific use permit. Essentially for neighborhood commercial, if you can go to the map, we kind of talked about this in regards to the areas where we have neighborhood commercial, specifically here in Saginaw. It's very much more towards abutting residential, and so we just thought that in those specific areas, having a gas station would cause much more issues in terms of traffic and other things. But we would be proposing later on in the future to add a convenience store as itself, because we do see the need for possibly a convenience store, but not necessarily the fuel cells portion of it with neighborhood commercial. Within community commercial, we've seen a lot of applications lately for gas stations, and they're currently allowed by right. And so if we were to change that to an SUP, then we would have more opportunity to look on that on a case-by-case basis. So with that, I will open that up for any questions for that first portion or commentary.
No.
Okay. So the next portion of it, that bottom half of this slide, is changing specific uses to a different category. So right now, ambulance service, cosmetic tattoo establishment, massage therapy establishment, and pharmacy are all within the commercial, retail, and service uses. So we just want to clean that up and change those to the medical category, because in our opinion, they're more medical-based than retail-based. So with that, do you all have any questions? We're not changing anything on this portion at all when it comes to if they're allowed or not. It's just changing them to a different category. Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. So
Sorry,
going-
I do have one
Yes, sir?
question. So they are currently in commercial retail, right?
And service, yes,
And
sir.
services.
Yes, so we would just be changing them from that category to the medical.
So we're moving them from that category to medical?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I agree with it, but why aren't they
There now?
why aren't they allowed to be in like commercial retail or
Yeah.
services?
So-
It's just their class. It's not if they're allowed or not allowed, it's just their classification of what type of
It's
business.
just-
Yeah.
Is
So
that just the
essentially,
categorization?
the entire permitted use table is just divided in separate little categories so that when you're looking through it, it's a very long list. So it just allows you to more easily find something.
Carry on, yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be allowed in commercial.
Good.
Yes, it's just the category.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so does anyone else have any other questions or commentary when it comes to that portion? Okay, so then we're going to be moving to the next category, which is medical. So again, we plugged in those four uses that we just mentioned into this. And similar to one of our other areas where we had a recommendation from our legal counsel to amend our zoning district. So right now we have a category that is more restrictive in the community commercial portion. And so the recommendation is to make all of the community commercial within the medical category be specific use permits so that we're not more restrictive in that other one. Does anyone have a question or commentary on that one? Yeah, okay. All right. So those are the simpler of the items, pretty straightforward. The next one is going to be making actual changes to a massive list. So this is the automotive category. I'm going to go line item by line item, and that way we can talk about it. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop me towards the end of each one. Okay, so our first one are auto auctions. So that would be somewhere where you can take your vehicle or type like motorcycles, cars, different variety of what they would consider to be acceptable for them within the definition, and sell them off for an auction, right? So we're proposing currently it is allowed by SUP in the light industrial, and it's allowed by right in heavy industrial. We currently don't see these types of establishments within the city, so we were just proposing to not have them allowed at all within any of our zoning districts because we don't feel that it is currently a need that our citizens have been wanting in the city. A lot of our surveys and, commentary when it comes to P&Z and City Council have been that they want to see more sit-down restaurants, more retail options, and within the industrial section, for this example, it would probably be better to have more manufacturing or warehousing types of establishments. So that's why we have that proposition. Okay, next we have an auto car wash. Again, similar to the neighborhood commercial use, the way that it's placed throughout the map, we don't think that it's necessarily something that is complementary to neighborhood commercial just because it abuts residential, and in some other areas, like you said, it's where the HOA offices are, and so current neighborhood commercial parcels don't really reflect that very well. We would be keeping them as an SUP for community commercial and then proposing an SUP as well for light industrial and heavy industrial. And that was in looking at establishments like Fuel City, or we have another one, I think it was MM Repair, that also has a car wash on site for their industrial use. So that would just allow it to look at it on a case-by-case basis. Any questions on that one? No? Okay. So next is auto parts and accessory sales. So that would be like an O'Reilly's or somewhere that sells like tires or fuel, oil, those types of things. And so for neighborhood commercial, we're proposing to not have it allowed at all. In community commercial, having that allowed by SUP. And then we would not be touching light industrial or heavy industrial at all. Next, we have an auto rental, car and truck. For neighborhood commercial, again, similar. A lot of these neighborhood commercials are going to be the same in terms of just compatibility. They're not really compatible with we have current NC zones. For community commercial, we're proposing to have that by SUP. We had a recent, I think we only have one auto rental within the city, and that was within a location where we were a little bit afraid of possibly traffic issues and things of that nature. So just still having it allowed by SUP, we would be able to look at it on a case-by-case basis. Okay. Next, we have an auto repair garage. Again, NC, not having it allowed at all. Community commercial and all the other ones would stay the same, which is light and heavy industrial. Auto sales, new and used. We don't have any dealerships within the city currently. I don't think that they're something that we currently have a need for. We live in the DFW, there's a lot of different ones, so we're just proposing not to have it allowed anywhere within the city. Auto service station is the next one. Proposing not to have it allowed at all in neighborhood commercial, having it allowed by SUP on community commercial, and keeping it the same for permitted by right in light industrial and heavy industrial. Next is auto service station light maintenance. Neighborhood commercial, not having it allowed. Community commercial, having it allowed by SUP, and keeping LI and HI the same permitted by right. Next is bus, train station, or terminal. Again, we don't have this use within the city right now. We're proposing to not have it allowed within NC, NMU, and community commercial, and NMU stands for neighborhood mixed use. And we would just keep it the same in light industrial and heavy industrial. Motorcycle sales. Again, we don't really see any dealerships of any nature here in the city, so we're proposing not to have that allowed anywhere within the city. Park and ride lots, we're proposing not to have it permissible anywhere within the city for the exception of community facility, and the only reason we would want to have that allowed there is our training ground. We obviously moved that from the high school to the park. And so parking has been an issue. And so last year we did implement a shuttle service. So in order to have that be permissible, it would need to be in the chart. Does anyone have any questions or concerns in regards to that one? No? Okay. Moving on to park and ride lots. That would be a parking lot where you can park and pay to park and then ride a shuttle elsewhere. I'm sorry, I just did that one. Parking lot, commercial auto. That one we are proposing to have in light industrial and heavy industrial, permitted by SUP. And that way, if we have a specific case that may need one, we can grant it still. And that would be the same with parking lot, commercial truck. Last two are recreational vehicle rentals and storage. And so we don't see RVs here, really. They're larger vehicles, so they take up more space, and that, has more of a hindrance when it comes to other types of things as well, like aesthetics or, just space in general. You'll see them, we already have a lot of 18-wheelers down the road, so adding RVs to a specific place may cause some issues, so we're proposing not to have those allowed because there's not a current need for that either. opening it up, I know that was a lot, to any questions or concerns y'all might have, or if y'all want to make any suggestions to any of these, we are open to making those modifications right now.
I think I talked a lot the last time that this came forward, and so I know why the city is doing this. And the only couple of businesses that I had kind of concerns about, they're still allowed by SUP. So yeah, I'm good with this. Like the city says, we are about to near full build out. And so as we go to having less and less available open land and we're going to redevelopment, I think it makes a lot of sense to not allow some of these places by right because they can take up a lot of valuable land.
Yeah, I agree. And I did have one quick question on the bus, train, taxi station. That does not include like just a bus stop, does it?
No, it wouldn't include that. It would be more so a bus station where there's
Like
a
an
lot
actual
of buses.
station. Yeah.
That, yes.
Like a Greyhound or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
I'm concerned that maybe we're being short-sighted. Because what we don't see today may pop up at us tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. But so from what I saw on this, the only areas that we are kind of taking away at being allowed is neighborhood commercial, which can we see another zoning map of the city really quick just to see where that is? Because I think most of the neighborhood commercial is already built. There's that. Okay, NC, so right next to the park, the NC that's in the middle, that is the senior folks' place that's right down the road. And then the NC that is right across the street, that's the Weldley Hadley Development Center that EMS ISD has. The NC that's down at the bottom of the park, that is the food truck park. And then the only other NC that I'm seeing is there is an open lot across from Leadership Development Academy on Old Decatur. But the rest of it's developed. So I guess we're taking these away from being used, but they would have to tear down like the brand new senior center or it's not a senior center, it's memory care. Yes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That is zoned neighborhood commercial. Like they would have to tear that down and build a bus stop or something, or want to build a bus stop there. You know what I'm saying?
Can we go back to the table, please?
Yeah.
Yes. So just want to reiterate, kind of, Mr. Chairman mentioned, we're pretty much on build out. So a lot of these parcels may have development now. So it would probably be they're going to stay in business most likely, right? But now that we're entering potential build out, it's very important that we focus on redevelopment. So when we do have on the boulevard, we've seen a lot of redevelopment this year or in this last year. So that's what we would be looking at, focusing on planning for the future, not just for today. And like we mentioned, neighborhood commercial is one of those caveats where a lot of it is built out, but we do have some parcels that are still vacant. And so that would be applicable to those, but as well as the developments that are already established. If they were to one day sell or tear that down, then it would apply to them as well.
Okay.
I'm not so concerned about the neighborhood commercial. Where light industrial and heavy industrial, we are taking away, down in the bottom, the parking lots, the commercial,
RV rentals, RV storage.
well, those are going to SUP, but the recreational vehicle and the storage, those two, I think those should be for S. I think they need to be SUP. I think we're being short-sighted because a lot of times in those facilities, they will change the manner in which they're doing business, or somebody's going to come in and take a warehouse and want to use it for something other than what it was used before. And I think those need to be SUPs for both light industrial and heavy industrial, so that we're not cutting off our nose to spite our face. Those properties can change use much more easily. And we're just saying, no, we can't, we're not going to allow it.
I understand what you're saying. I just want to let y'all know, so this is the permitted use table. She's going down. Can you start from the very beginning? Okay. So this is the very top. Luis is going to scroll down just to show y'all how long the permitted use table is. So automobile is not the only category that we have.
No, I understand that.
And so within light industrial and heavy industrial, there are still other uses that are allowed, so they would still have plenty of options if an owner of the land wanted to change it to something else. But if y'all wanted to change those to SCP, y'all are also able to make that recommendation. It's up to y'all.
And if we're changing the use table, if somebody really, really, really wanted to turn their heavy industrial plot of land into an RV, could they go before council and ask for a variance?
Yes.
Even if we approve this?
It wouldn't be a variance, so the
Okay.
way that it works essentially is whatever you allow today would be the new regulations if city council approves it. But it's not a permanent use in the sense that you can never go back. You can
Right.
always go back, and if you have an applicant, just like you did today, they would be able to come and make their case, and if you decided to add it back to a certain category, you're more than welcome to do that at that time as well. So it's nothing where it's permanent, but it would be the law until y'all decide to change it.
Right. And city council would take our recommendation tonight too, and would, look at it. So what do you think, Val? Do you think because it's recreational vehicle rental and commercial RV storage, right? Those are the two? Yeah.
The other one is also, I think you were trying to highlight the ones where we're not allowed anywhere. The other ones within this list would also entail auto sales, new and used, as well as motorcycle sales. And I believe those are the only ones that would not be allowed anywhere within the zoning district that we're proposing.
Yeah.
So I'm not, it looks okay to me. Do you want to make a motion to change those, the recreational rental and storage, do you want to make a motion to change those to specific use? I'm not entirely opposed to that at all.
Okay, so does that need to be a separate motion?
So if you wanted to make a motion for that, you would just make a motion and specify that. And if there is a majority rule, then that would stand. But if someone decided not to vote on that, then someone else can make a separate motion.
So it would be to approve this with just the stipulation to change.
And Mr. Chairman,
Rex rental and
I
storage.
apologize. Before we make this decision, we do have to open the public hearing.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. Is that if we're gonna change something besides your recommendation, or that's in
Just in general,
anyways?
because it is listed on the agenda as a public hearing.
Okay. Do we have any other ones to look at after this? Okay.
Not
Okay.
today. We decided to phase them out so that we're not overwhelming and looking at everything
Got it.
all at
Okay.
once.
I guess I'm the same kind of thinking as Val. I wouldn't mind having it be an SUP. I don't know. I haven't thought about having an RV storage business before, but maybe it would take over something that's empty. So, there could be something that's not being used right now that could be used because of that. So I don't know. And I'm fine with it having an SUP. So if somebody hold on, we have to close this, open up a public hearing, have a public hearing, and then we're not
Opening public.
All right, I am going to open this up for a public hearing at 8:09 p.m. Regarding 3A, and it is open. If anybody would like to speak. Alrighty, and then I'm going to close the public hearing at 10 p.m. Alrighty. And then now, do I have a motion?
I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to say.
Well, it's 3A. And then, so you would make a motion to approve 3A, you would read off 3A, and then at the end of it, you would say, with the stipulation that, and then list off the two are allowed in LI and HI with an SUP. Something along those lines, I believe. Or you could put HI, or whatever ones you're wanting it, yeah.
Well, I move that we recommend 3A on the public hearing to modify the city's public use table for automotive use, medical use, and commercial, retail, and service use with the recommended changes with the exception of recreational vehicle rental and recreational vehicle storage, commercial, and change the light industrial and heavy industrial to S for SUP review.
And Mr. Chairman, I just want to ask, so you've only chose two of the ones where they're not permissible at all? Did we want to look at the auto sales and the motorcycle sales, or just those RV ones?
Those are the only.
Those were the only two that were suggested. I
Okay,
personally.
just wanna
Yeah,
specify.
thank you. Yeah. Those were the only two, correct? Okay, got it. All right, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Alrighty. Oh, we're gonna vote. I still can't believe I got bit by a thing.
Mr. Chairman, if you could cast your vote.
Mine isn't on my screen.
Just touch it and then.
Oh.
Oh. I kept waiting for it to pop up, sorry.
I did the same thing.
Alrighty, and the motion has passed. Oh, because I opened up that little, okay, got it. Okay, alrighty, now, yes, let's go to 4A, project updates, my favorite.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to go quickly through the ones that have been added to our list since our last meeting. First one being the improvements on Saginaw High School. We had a pre-construction meeting last month, and they're currently working on installing a new water main for that property. Next, we had Frontier Settlement. We just held a pre-construction meeting for it earlier this month, and construction's anticipated to start on the 20th. This is located at the corner of Old Decatur Road and McElroy Boulevard. It's a residential development. Next is the reconstruction for Old Decatur Road. We had a pre-construction meeting earlier this year as well, and the contractors working on the installation of concrete boxes and just paving for the east side of that intersection. If you guys have any questions, do let us know, but those are majorly the newer updates.
Yeah, I saw one of the neighborhoods, mixed-use neighborhoods that came before us a while back, started turning dirt at McElroy and Old Decatur, so that's exciting. And the office park on Bailey Boswell is coming along nice, so happy to see that. I did have one kind of note question, and this came up tonight in the meeting, but it came up last week on a call I had with the city manager. The zoning map that we're using, I don't think it's updated. Because I found out that there is a piece of land behind my neighborhood that I thought was PD, and I argued with the city manager about it. I was like, no, it's PD. Like, I would know. I'm chairman of planning and zoning, duh. You know, I kept telling him, and he was like, no, it's NMU. And I'm like, no, it's PD. Yes. And then I came up to City Hall and saw the map, and I was like, it's PD. And then I went and I searched using AI, and I found that in January of 2023, there were 6 parcels up and down mainly the western half of the city that were like office professional, community commercial, neighborhood commercial, planned development. There was like a bunch of them that were all changed to NMU. So is there a way for us to get an updated zoning map?
We've been working
Okay.
on updating all of our maps.
Okay.
So that's actually, I've already been requested the final version
Okay.
of that. So they've been collected, all of the ones as of March that we let them know. So
Okay.
we should see those very
It's in
soon.
process, cool, got it.
Yes.
Because I've like, yeah, it was kind of funny. I was going back and forth with Gabe. I was like, no, it's
Yes.
not, kind of thing.
Yes, in the future, if you ever had a question, you could let us know and then we'll
Okay.
have the proper one. But yes, hopefully within this next, probably by May, we'll have that uploaded.
Cool. Okay, got it. All right. Other than that, do we have executive session this evening? Nope. Okay. So at 8:16 p.m., I'm going to adjourn this meeting of the City of
Mr.
Saginaw
Chairman,
Planning.
we would need to have a motion to adjourn.
Oh
the
my
meeting.
goodness. I'm just going so fast tonight. Okay. So if that's all, do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Let me think about it. Yes, I second that.
All righty. Got my little voter thing up. All righty, and the motion passes, so we are going to adjourn at 8:16 p.m. Thank everybody. Thank y'all.